Imagine waking up one morning to find your job is gone. Not because your company went bankrupt. Not because your boss decided to fire you. But because a machine, an algorithm, a piece of artificial intelligence is now doing it better, faster, and cheaper than you ever could. This isn't a scene from a science fiction movie. It's happening right now in America. Every time you walk into a fast food chain and tap your order into a glowing digital kiosk instead of handing cash to a cashier, you're witnessing it. Every time a chatbot answers your question instead of a human customer service rep, you're experiencing it. Every time an AI tool writes an article, generates a piece of music, or edits a video, you're watching the silent replacement of jobs unfold in real time. And here's the part few people are ready to admit. Once AI takes a role, that job rarely comes back. For decades, the story seemed simple. Machines threatened blue-collar jobs. We imagined factory workers being replaced by robots, truck drivers by self-driving vehicles, warehouse packers by automated systems. The image of job loss was always tied to sweat, steel, and physical labor. But now, that story has changed. AI isn't just replacing muscle, it's replacing mind. White-collar jobs that once felt safe, stable, and untouchable are suddenly on the chopping block. Lawyers scanning contracts, journalists writing headlines, analysts crunching numbers, even doctors reviewing scans. Roles once seen as the backbone of the American middle class are facing competition from lines of code. And this isn't a slow evolution. It's a tidal wave rushing forward. Experts warn that millions of American jobs could vanish within the next decade. These jobs won't be outsourced overseas. They won't be lost to cheaper foreign labor. They'll simply be erased, swallowed up by AI systems that don't sleep, don't demand raises, don't call in sick, and can work at lightning speed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Imagine competing not against another person, but against a machine that never gets tired and only gets smarter the longer it runs. So the question is no longer if artificial intelligence will replace jobs in America. The question is whose jobs are next, and how soon will it happen? Could it be yours? We are going to uncover the industries most at risk, reveal who stands to win and who stands to lose, and confront the tough ethical question that America can no longer ignore. Should we let machines replace people, even if it makes life cheaper, faster, and more convenient? By the end, you'll understand why many economists call this the fourth industrial revolution, and why its impact could be greater than electricity, the internet, or even the assembly line that defined America's rise. But before we dive into the future, we need to take a step back. Because America has faced waves of job loss from technology before, and the lessons of history may reveal whether AI is here to destroy the workforce, or to transform it forever. To understand how artificial intelligence could replace jobs in America, we have to look back. This is not the first time technology has disrupted the way people work. From the Industrial Revolution to the rise of computers, every wave of innovation has promised efficiency and progress, but it has also left millions of workers behind. The story of American labor is the story of people adapting, or failing to adapt, to new machines. The first great wave hit with the Industrial Revolution in the late 1700s and early 1800s. Before factories, everyday goods were crafted by skilled artisans. A shoemaker might spend an entire day producing a single pair of shoes. A weaver could labor for hours at a loom just to make enough cloth for one garment. A blacksmith might forge tools one by one. But when mechanized factories arrived, everything changed. Machines could produce goods in bulk, faster and cheaper than any human hand. A pair of shoes that once cost days of labor could now be stamped out in minutes. For artisans, this wasn't progress. It was devastation. Entire trades collapsed. Skilled workers who had spent years perfecting their crafts found themselves replaced overnight. Many resisted. The Luddites, groups of English and American workers, famously smashed machines in protest. They weren't afraid of technology itself. They were afraid of what it meant, permanent unemployment. But the march of progress was unstoppable. By the early 1900s, America saw another transformation, the assembly line. Henry Ford's moving line in 1913 revolutionized car production. Instead of one team building a car from start to finish, each worker performed a single repetitive task as the car rolled by. The results were staggering. A Model T that once took over 12 hours to build could now be assembled in just 93 minutes. Cars became affordable for average Americans. Industries boomed. Millions of jobs were created in factories, oil, rubber, and steel. But every gain came with a loss. The horse and buggy industry collapsed almost overnight. Carriage makers, saddle makers, stable owners, horse breeders, Entire professions vanished. Towns built around horse transport shrank. Within a generation, what had been an essential industry was nothing more than nostalgia. The mid-20th century brought yet another wave: automation in manufacturing. Robots began to appear on factory floors in the 1950s and 60s. At first, they handled welding, stamping, and painting. But soon, they were everywhere. In Detroit, once the proud heart of America's auto industry, the effect was brutal. In 1950, more than 330,000 people worked in auto manufacturing. By the 1980s, that number had dropped by nearly a third. Families who had believed factory jobs were jobs for life suddenly discovered they weren't. Whole neighborhoods in Detroit, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh collapsed into poverty. The jobs didn't move elsewhere. They simply vanished. Technology didn't just reshape factories. In the 1980s and 1990s, it crept into offices too. Computers, once rare and expensive, became standard. And with them, entire professions disappeared. Typists, who had once filled entire office floors, were no longer needed when every manager could type their own documents. Switchboard operators who once manually connected phone calls were replaced by automated systems. Filing clerks and secretaries saw their duties shrink as spreadsheets, databases, and email took over. Think about it. In 1980, America had over 400,000 secretaries. By 2000, that number had dropped dramatically, and the role itself had been redefined. For workers who had built stable careers in support roles, the change was devastating. New jobs in IT and programming did appear, but they required different skills, and most displaced workers weren't retrained to take them. The gap between those who adapted and those who couldn't grew wider than ever. The early 2000s introduced yet another shift: globalization powered by the internet. Suddenly, it wasn't just machines replacing workers, it was distance being erased. Companies realized they could outsource entire departments overseas for a fraction of the cost. Customer service jobs that once employed hundreds of thousands of Americans were moved to call centers in India. Data entry and accounting tasks were shifted to the Philippines. Manufacturing, already battered by automation, was hollowed out further as factories moved to China. For small towns in America, the effect was devastating. A call center in Ohio might close, throwing hundreds out of work, only for those jobs to reappear thousands of miles away. A local factory might shut its doors forever, leaving a community built around it with nothing to replace it. Families who had relied on these jobs for generations suddenly faced unemployment and uncertainty. Each wave of technology came with the same promise: faster, cheaper, more efficient. And those promises were real. Americans enjoyed lower prices, faster services, and new conveniences. But each wave also came with the same cost: job loss, broken communities, and workers left scrambling. Some adapted and found new opportunities. Many never recovered. The divide between winners and losers grew larger every time. And now, we stand on the edge of the AI revolution. What makes this wave different from all the rest is its scope. The Industrial Revolution targeted artisans. The assembly line replaced craftsmen. Factory automation displaced industrial workers. Computers eliminated clerical roles. Outsourcing moved support work overseas. But artificial intelligence threatens them all, at once. AI doesn't just take the place of a cashier or a truck driver. It competes with lawyers, accountants, analysts, teachers, and even doctors. It doesn't just replace the hands. It replaces the brain. That's why this moment feels more dangerous than any wave before it. America has always found ways to adapt. But in every past disruption, there was still space for uniquely human work. This time, that space is shrinking. If machines can learn, reason, and adapt, what's left for us? And that brings us to the critical question: which jobs are directly in Ari's path today? Which industries are first in line to be disrupted, transformed, or destroyed? The answers may shock you. Up until now, every wave of technology in America has followed a predictable script. Machines replaced some jobs, created others, and the economy adjusted. Farmers moved into factories. Factory workers moved into offices. Office workers shifted into service and tech. Painful, yes, but there was always somewhere new to go. Artificial intelligence breaks that pattern. This is not just another machine. This is a machine that can think. And that difference changes everything. Think about past disruptions. A robot arm on a car assembly line might weld faster than a human, but it could only weld. A computer spreadsheet could crunch numbers faster than a bookkeeper, but it could only follow formulas. AI doesn't have that limit. It doesn't just do one task. It learns, adapts, and then does many tasks at once, often better than humans. Take customer service. In the 1990s, outsourcing call centers overseas was considered revolutionary. Today, AI-powered chatbots handle millions of conversations daily. They don't just answer simple questions. They troubleshoot, process refunds, book appointments, and even upsell products. And they do it without salaries, benefits, or coffee breaks. Or look at creative work. For years, people said machines could never be creative. Creativity was uniquely human. But now, AI writes music, generates art, designs logos, and produces marketing campaigns. In 2023, an AI-generated image won a state art competition, beating dozens of human artists. AI isn't just doing repetitive labor, it's competing with imagination itself. The shift is also about speed. In the past, it took decades for new technology to spread. Factories didn't take over overnight. Computers didn't appear on every desk in a single year. AI adoption is moving faster than any technology before it. ChatGPT reached 100 million users in just 2 months, something the internet itself took years to achieve. Businesses are rushing to adopt AI tools, and once they see the savings, they rarely look back. And it's about scale. One AI model can serve millions of users at once. A human worker can handle one conversation, one project, or one case at a time. An AI can handle thousands simultaneously. This means when a company adopts AI, it doesn't just replace one worker, it can replace entire departments. Most importantly, the AI revolution is not limited to one class of workers. The Industrial Revolution hit artisans. The assembly line hit craftsmen. Computers hit clerical workers. Outsourcing hit support staff. But AI threatens everyone, from cashiers to CEOs. Consider law. Paralegals once spent hours combing through legal documents. Today, AI can analyze thousands of pages in seconds, pulling out the most relevant cases. That means fewer billable hours and fewer jobs. Consider journalism. Reporters used to draft every financial summary or sports recap. Today, AI tools generate those instantly. Outlets already publish AI-written articles, and most readers don't notice. Consider medicine. Radiologists used to be among the highest-paid specialists in healthcare. Now, AI can scan thousands of X-rays and MRIs with accuracy rates that sometimes surpass human doctors. If one AI can do the work of dozens of radiologists, what happens to the rest? This is the heart of the big shift. AI doesn't just replace tasks. It replaces skills. Reading, writing, analyzing, creating. The very things we thought defined white-collar work are suddenly replicable by machines. That's why experts warn this isn't just another industrial change. It's the fourth industrial revolution, a complete restructuring of the workforce. Unlike past revolutions, there's no clear safety net. When machines took over farms, people went to factories. When factories automated, people went to offices. But if AI takes over offices too, where do people go? Some optimists argue that AI will free us from drudgery, allowing humans to focus on higher-level, creative, or emotional work. Maybe AI will handle the spreadsheets while humans focus on innovation. Maybe AI will draft emails while humans focus on building relationships. That's the hope. But history suggests a harder truth. New jobs always appear, but not for everyone. Not fast enough. And not in the same communities where jobs were lost. When factories closed in Detroit, millions didn't suddenly become computer programmers. When call centers moved overseas, workers in Ohio didn't all become app developers. If AI wipes out millions of jobs, where exactly are those displaced workers supposed to go? And here's the unsettling part. Many of the new jobs AI creates are in building and maintaining AI itself. Data scientists, machine learning engineers, prompt engineers. These roles require advanced education and specialized skills. They aren't easily accessible to someone laid off from a warehouse, a newsroom, or a law firm. That's why the big shift feels less like evolution and more like a revolution. The speed is faster. The scale is larger. And the scope is total. AI isn't targeting one industry or one type of worker. It's coming for all of them. So what happens next? Who stands to gain from this revolution? And who stands to lose the most? The answer isn't evenly distributed. Some groups will rise, others will fall, and the gap between them could be wider than anything America has seen before. Every revolution has winners and losers. The AI revolution is no different. While some people stand to gain more wealth, more power, and more opportunities, others face unemployment, uncertainty, and the collapse of industries that once felt untouchable. The question isn't just which jobs will survive. It's who will thrive, and who will be left behind. At the top of the list of winners are the big tech companies building and owning AI systems. Giants like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and OpenAI are positioned to profit massively. They're not just selling software, they're selling the future of work itself. For every business that signs up to replace a human worker with an AI tool, these companies get richer. Their investors see profits rise. Their executives see bonuses climb. The AI revolution is their gold rush. But it's not only tech giants. Businesses across industries that adopt AI early are also winners. A law firm that uses AI to review documents can cut costs dramatically, billing fewer hours but handling more clients. A hospital that uses AI to analyze scans can process more patients faster, boosting efficiency. A small business that uses AI for marketing, accounting, and customer service can suddenly compete with much larger rivals. For employers, AI is a dream. Fewer salaries, fewer benefits to pay, and more productivity. Some individual workers will win too. People who know how to build, maintain, and manage AI systems, data scientists, machine learning engineers, AI ethicists, prompt engineers, are suddenly in high demand. Salaries for these roles are soaring. In Silicon Valley, some AI specialists now earn 6 or even 7-figure salaries. For those with the right skills, the AI boom isn't a threat. It's a golden ticket. But if those are the winners, who are the losers? Unfortunately, the list is much longer. The most obvious group are workers in routine, repetitive jobs. Cashiers, customer service representatives, telemarketers, data entry clerks. These roles are disappearing fast. Already, major retail chains are replacing checkout lanes with self-service kiosks powered by AI systems. Customer support is shifting to chatbots that can handle thousands of conversations simultaneously. For workers in these roles, the writing is on the wall. But it doesn't stop at low-wage jobs. White-collar workers, once considered safe, are also at risk. Paralegals and junior lawyers who used to bill hours reviewing documents now face competition from AI that can analyze case law in seconds. Journalists who used to write financial reports or sports recaps are being replaced by AI systems that draft them instantly. Even in healthcare, where human expertise was once sacred, AI is creeping in. Radiologists, pathologists, and pharmacists are seeing algorithms do work that once required years of training. And then there are the industries built on trust and tradition. Education, for example. Some universities and schools are already experimenting with AI tutors and grading systems. What happens to teachers when parents decide an AI tutor is more affordable than after-school lessons? What happens when grading and lesson planning are automated? The risk is that entire sectors of stable, middle-class work could shrink. The losers also include entire communities. Just as Detroit collapsed when auto jobs vanished, towns dependent on warehouses, call centers, or back-office hubs are vulnerable. When jobs disappear, local economies follow. Restaurants close. Stores shutter. Property values fall. It's not just the workers who lose, it's their families, their neighbors, their hometowns. There's also a psychological toll. Work isn't just about money. It's about identity and dignity. A truck driver who has spent 30 years on the road doesn't just earn a paycheck. His work is part of who he is. If self-driving trucks take over, he doesn't just lose income. He loses purpose. Multiply that feeling across millions of Americans, and the mental health impact could be enormous. The gap between winners and losers may become wider than anything America has ever seen. On one side, wealthy tech companies and skilled professionals thrive in the AI economy. On the other, millions of workers struggle to rein, compete, or even survive. The middle class, already shrinking, could hollow out even further. And here's the harsh reality. The winners don't need as many people as the losers. A single AI program can replace hundreds of jobs. The value flows upward to the companies that own it. That means wealth concentrates even more in the hands of a few, while millions face downward mobility. The American dream, the promise that hard work leads to stability, starts to look less like a dream and more like a memory. So the divide is clear. The winners are corporations, investors, and highly skilled specialists. The losers are ordinary workers, entire industries, and communities built on jobs that machines now do better. But this raises a critical question. What happens next? If AI keeps advancing at this pace, how will America look in 10 years? Will we adapt and create new kinds of work, or are we heading toward a future of mass unemployment and social upheaval? If history shows us where we've been, the future shows us what's at stake. Artificial intelligence isn't slowing down. It's accelerating, faster than any technology before it. In the next 5 to 10 years, America's workforce could look completely different. The only question is, what kind of future are we heading toward? Let's start with the best-case scenario. In this vision, AI doesn't destroy jobs, it transforms them. Just like tractors freed farmers from endless manual labor and computers freed office workers from repetitive typing, AI could free us from boring, time-consuming tasks. Imagine doctors no longer buried in paperwork, teachers no longer drowning in grading, or small business owners no longer stressing over accounting. AI handles the grunt work, leaving humans to focus on creativity, empathy, and problem-solving. In this world, people work fewer hours but achieve more. Productivity soars, prices drop, and the economy grows. Far from destroying the American dream, AI could renew it, creating a society where people have more time, more freedom, and more opportunity. But now, picture the worst-case scenario. In this nightmare, AI doesn't just change work, it wipes it out. Millions of jobs vanish in just a few years. Fast food chains fully automate with kiosks and robotic kitchens. Trucking companies roll out self-driving fleets, cutting hundreds of thousands of drivers. Law firms shrink because AI handles research and drafting. Hospitals reduce staff because algorithms read scans with higher accuracy than human doctors. By 2035, as many as 20 to 30 million American jobs could be automated according to studies by McKinsey and the Brookings Institution. Entire industries shrink, communities collapse, and inequality explodes. Wealth concentrates in the hands of tech companies and investors, while millions of families struggle to survive. The American middle class, already fragile, risks disappearing altogether. Some experts believe the reality will land somewhere in between. Jobs will be destroyed, yes, but new ones will be created. The real issue is the gap between them. A warehouse worker replaced by AI-powered logistics won't easily become a machine learning engineer. A truck driver replaced by automation won't suddenly shift into coding. Retraining takes time, money, and opportunity, resources many Americans won't have. That gap could leave millions stranded. Economists predict a future of job polarization. On one end, high-skill, high-paying jobs will grow. AI engineers, data scientists, creative strategists who can use machines to scale their vision. On the other end, low-skill, low-paying service jobs may survive. Janitors, waiters, home health aides. But the middle, clerks, analysts, technicians, administrative staff, could vanish. America risks becoming a country of extremes, a wealthy elite working alongside machines, and a struggling majority scraping by. Now, imagine 3 Americans in 2035. First, a truck driver in Texas. After 25 years on the road, his company phased in autonomous fleets. At first he trained alongside them, but within a few years, there were no more routes left. At 55, retraining feels impossible. The job that defined his life is gone. Second, a teacher in Ohio. Her school uses AI tutors that personalize lessons for every child. At first, she resisted, but eventually she found her role changing. She's no longer just delivering content. The AI does that. Instead, she focuses on mentoring, emotional support, and guiding students through critical thinking. Her job didn't vanish, it evolved. Third, a young software engineer in California. She works for a tech giant developing AI platforms. Her salary is 6 figures. Her stock options are worth millions. For her, AI is not a threat but the foundation of her success. These 3 lives show us the split future of America. Some will lose, some will adapt, and some will soar. The divide will depend on skills, access, and opportunity, things not evenly distributed. And here's another factor: speed. Past technological shifts took decades to unfold. The spread of electricity, the adoption of cars, even the rollout of the internet all stretched over years. AI adoption moves faster. ChatGPT reached 100 million users in 2 months, the fastest adoption of any consumer technology in history. Once companies realize they can save money, they move quickly. A fast food chain can roll out kiosks nationwide in a year. A hospital system can integrate AI diagnostics in months. This means job loss won't be gradual. It could be sudden, hitting millions before they have time to adjust. So what will America look like in 2035? In one version, AI becomes our partner. People work fewer hours, earn enough to live comfortably, and new industries, AI human creative partnerships, AI maintenance, even AI regulation, employ millions. America thrives, not because machines replaced us, but because machines work with us. In another version, AI becomes our competitor. Millions of unemployed Americans struggle to survive on government assistance. Wealth concentrates into fewer hands. Communities collapse. The promise of the American dream, that hard work guarantees stability, is gone. And then there's the most likely version, a divided America. Some people living in prosperity, powered by AI. Others left behind in a system that no longer needs them. The question is whether we accept that divide, or whether we fight to close it. Which brings us to the hardest question of all. Should we allow machines to replace people, even if it makes life cheaper, faster, and more efficient? Is convenience worth the cost of millions of livelihoods? That's the ethical debate America can't ignore. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Artificial intelligence isn't just a technological issue. It's a moral one. It forces us to ask questions we've never had to ask before. Just because machines can replace people, does that mean they should? On one side, you have the efficiency argument. AI is faster, cheaper, and more reliable than humans in many tasks. A company can save millions by replacing employees with machines. Prices drop, productivity soars, and shareholders cheer. From this perspective, AI is simply progress, no different than tractors replacing horses or computers replacing typewriters. Supporters argue that resisting AI is like resisting electricity, pointless and short-sighted. But on the other side, you have the human cost. Every AI system that saves a company money comes at the expense of workers losing their jobs. And a job isn't just a paycheck. It's dignity, purpose, and identity. A father who loses his trucking job after 25 years doesn't just lose income, he loses pride. A teacher replaced by an AI tutor doesn't just lose work, she loses her calling. An artist displaced by AI-generated content doesn't just lose commissions, they lose their voice. The question becomes, do we value efficiency more than human dignity? The debate also raises the issue of fairness. Who benefits when AI replaces jobs? Usually, it's corporations and investors. Who suffers? Ordinary workers. When a fast food chain replaces cashiers with kiosks, the company pockets the savings while employees are left scrambling. When a law firm automates legal research, partners increase profits while junior associates are cut. Wealth concentrates upward, while millions face downward mobility. The moral dilemma is clear. Is it ethical for a handful of companies to profit while entire communities collapse? There's also the issue of responsibility. Should companies be held accountable for the workers they replace? Some argue yes. Corporations owe loyalty to their employees, not just their shareholders. Others argue no. Businesses exist to make money, not to provide jobs. But if every company chases maximum profit through automation, who protects the workers? Should government step in? Should there be laws limiting how quickly companies can replace humans with machines? These questions lead us to the biggest ethical debate of all. What is the purpose of work? For centuries, the American dream has been built on a simple belief. If you work hard, you can build a stable life. But what happens when hard work no longer guarantees work at all? If AI takes millions of jobs, do we rethink the very meaning of labor? Do we build a society where work is no longer the center of life, and people are supported in other ways, perhaps through universal basic income or social programs? Or do we cling to the old model, even as machines make it impossible for many to participate? The controversy runs even deeper when you consider bias and control. AI systems are not neutral. They are built on data created by humans, which means they inherit human flaws. If companies replace judges, doctors, or hiring managers with AI, what happens when those systems make biased or unfair decisions? Who is accountable? The programmer, the company, or the algorithm itself? And then there's the global dimension. If America doesn't embrace AI, other countries will. China, for example, is investing heavily in AI to dominate global industries. If the US tries to slow adoption for ethical reasons, does it risk falling behind? Is it moral to protect jobs at home if it means losing competitiveness abroad? Or is it more moral to safeguard workers, even if the economy grows more slowly? Supporters of AI argue that history always favors progress. Yes, jobs disappear, but new ones always emerge. Opponents argue that AI is different, because it targets not just physical labor, but mental labor, too. This isn't about replacing muscles. It's about replacing minds. If machines can think, create, and decide, then what's left for humans? Would you trust an AI doctor to diagnose your illness? Would you be comfortable if your child was taught by an AI tutor instead of a teacher? Would you feel safe if AI control trucks filled the highways while human drivers were sidelined? These aren't abstract questions. They are choices Americans will face in the coming decade. And maybe the hardest question of all, what kind of society do we want to live in? One where efficiency and profit rule above all else? Or one where we protect the dignity of work, even if it costs more? Because AI is not destiny. It's a tool. And like every tool in history, its impact depends on how we use it. America can choose to let AI run unchecked, or it can choose to put rules in place, rules that balance progress with protection, efficiency with humanity. But that choice needs to be made now. Because once AI takes over, there may be no going back. We've taken a journey through America's past, present, and possible future. We've seen how machines have replaced workers before, from artisans in the Industrial Revolution, to factory workers in Detroit, to clerks and call center staff in the age of computers and outsourcing. And now we stand at the edge of something bigger, artificial intelligence, a force powerful enough to replace not just our hands, but our minds. The truth is simple but heavy. AI will replace jobs in America. For some, this will mean opportunity, new industries, new careers, and unimaginable growth. For others, it will mean loss, unemployment, uncertainty, and communities torn apart. Winners and losers, dreamers and casualties. Just like every revolution before, only faster, bigger, and harder to escape. So what can we do? We can pretend it's not happening, but the evidence is already in front of our eyes. We can resist it, but history shows that fighting technology rarely works. Or we can face it head-on, by demanding policies that protect workers, by pushing companies to balance profit with responsibility, and by preparing ourselves and our children with the skills that machines can't easily replace: empathy, creativity, leadership, and critical thinking. The American dream has always been about work, about the dignity of building a life with your own two hands. But maybe the future dream will be different. Maybe it will be about building lives with our ideas, our emotions, and our humanity. Maybe it will be about learning to work alongside machines, instead of being replaced by them. And that brings the choice to you. Do you see AI as the end of jobs, or the beginning of something new? Do you fear it, or do you embrace it? More importantly, what do you think America should do as AI reshapes the future of work? Because here's the truth, the debate isn't happening somewhere else. It's happening right now, in boardrooms, classrooms, and communities across the country. And your voice matters. So let's talk. Comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe AI will destroy more jobs than it creates? Or do you believe we'll adapt like we always have? Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, a coworker, a teacher, a parent, anyone who wonders what the future holds. And if you found value in this journey, hit like and subscribe, because we'll be diving even deeper into how technology is shaping our lives. The future isn't written yet. But one thing is certain, AI is here, and it will change everything. The question is not if, it's how. And the answer to that will depend on all of us.